Hello. Right. Going to do a sequence now, which is pretty much focusing on tightness in the hamstrings and tightness in the shoulder girdle, which we've all got. Everybody probably has got a little bit of tightness in the hamstrings because we sit down a lot, most of us. And most people are quite tight in the shoulders simply because of the lives we lead. And that might be down to too much time on a computer, too much time reading, too much time driving. But everybody, I think, finds they're quite rounded in their back. I certainly do. And, I do quite a lot of movement and it gets to me. We sit probably on average about 7 or 8 hours a day. And that's what happens. Okay, so we're going to start off in child pose. Some of these postures are in the handout I've got. And if you haven't got the handout and you want the handout, just ping me an email, hatherich@gmail.com, or contact me via the website and I'll send you one over. Gives you a bit more information about the postures and also the sun salutations, go into a bit more detail about those. And what you might need for this practice is a belt. Okay, we're going to do some stuff with the belt. We're going to tie ourselves up. Okay, coming on your fronts. Child pose, start off with. So take the knees out nice and wide, join the big toes together, walk the hands to the top of the mat, let the forehead and the chest come down towards the mat and finding a sense of release here. So stretching out through the arms, letting the chest come down, sitting the hips back into the heels, compressing into those hip sockets. Taking a few steady breaths here, just feeling your body, feeling the sensations, getting connected. And any one of these postures that you just want to skip through, that's absolutely fine. I'm going to put them all on this video and then you can pick and choose as you see fit. Okay, coming into tabletop position, cat-cow is really good for our spine. So breathing in, dropping the tummy down, pointing the bum up, lifting the head just slightly. Now, where I read the prompts for cat-cow is when you lift the head just slightly, imagine you've got an egg in the nape, in the back of your neck, and you don't want to crush the egg, but you just want to gently press against it. Exhaling, rounding the spine, dropping the head, tucking the tailbone under and pulling the navel into the spine to push the lumbar spine up. So that's the movement with the breath, nice and slow, knees hip width apart. All we're doing is articulating the spine now, just getting the spine to glide all the way through its range of movement. Just noting any sensitivities in your spine when you do this, all the way from the base of the skull to the tip of the tailbone. And if you only ever do one movement in your day, in your yoga practice, I would recommend that this is the movement you should do for the health of your spine. Okay. And now we're going to come down onto our fronts for our first back bend. So this is Sphinx. So plant your forearms on the mat. Bring your shoulders on top of your wrists. Forearms are parallel, fingers are quite wide, and you're flat on the floor here. But to get into Sphinx, try to get your lower ribs, your soft ribs, if you like, onto the floor. And then draw the body forwards as you pull back on the forearms. I'm going to make sure my mic doesn't pop out when I do this. Pull the body forwards. And then when you've got that forward traction, if you like, then gently lift the chest away. Bring the shoulder blades back down the ribs and together. It's a very subtle, gentle movement. But you'll feel that very gentle extension through the spine, pulling the spine forwards and away from the mat, but keeping those lower ribs as close to the floor as you can. So the movement comes up into the upper spine, the thoracic spine, and the cervical spine. Not really craning the neck to go for height, but trying to lengthen through the spine, keeping the pressure on the forearms, keeping the breath nice and steady. And release. Okay. We'll take a child pose to counter, so stretching out through the spine, sitting the hips back, and then plant the forearms on the floor. Forearms are still parallel. Shoulders are still on top of the wrists. And we're going to tuck the toes in, we're going to lift the hips up, we're going to walk the feet forwards, nice and straight with the legs, or as straight as you can make it, into dolphin. Pushing down on the heels, feet are hip width apart. Sit bones are going up and backwards. You can feel the grounding through the forearms, really working the shoulder girdle here, but also really stretching those hamstrings. Feel that tension here. You can pedal the legs here if it's nicer to loosen off, and then come up and send the heels down. Really feel that stretch. This is dolphin. You can build this into your sun salutations as well. Instead of downward dog, you can come to downward dog, and then lower onto your forearms into dolphin, and have that really nice stretch, not only of the hamstrings, but obviously your shoulder girdles really working here, building on that strength. Dolphin is actually a practice posture for scorpion, or where we throw the legs up in the air, or even handstands. Okay, coming out of that. Okay, and then coming up onto your knees. Into tabletop. Tuck the toes in, lift into downward dog. Pedal the legs out here. And lifting the hips up and backwards, sending the sit bones backwards, straightening the legs, pushing the heels down. Downward dog. A couple of breaths here. I'm going to do this a few times in the sun salutation, so we won't stay here too long. Bend the knees and slowly walk into the top of the mat. Bend knee forward bend. Pulling the belly in, allowing the arms to dangle down the side. Keep your core engaged here. Chin's tucked in. And then with your belly pulled in, slowly roll up, keeping that core engaged. Up all the way to a mountain posture. Inhale the hands up, cactus the arms. Elbows come down shoulder height, palms face forward. Then draw the elbows back as you start to stretch out through pec minor, shoulder blades coming towards the center of the back. Breathe in here, feeling that stretch through the front of the body and activation of your back muscles, deep back muscles. A few more breaths. Release the hands down. Inhale the hands up to loosen off the shoulders. Exhale down. Okay. At the top of your mat, you're going to take the hands behind the back, clasp the hands, drive the arms away. Bend the knees slightly, slowly chest forwards and bend forwards. As you come into a forward bend, chest comes onto the thighs as the arms continue the movement going forwards as far as you can until you find tension in the shoulders. Stay here, soften your shoulders, maybe go a little bit further forwards if you can, and hold here. And as you settle into this and you start to slow the breath down, just see if you can go a little bit deeper. Okay, and then slowly release out of that, or bring the hands behind you, and then slowly pull the belly in as you roll up to standing. Inhale the hands up, top of the mat, soften the knees, exhale the hands down. On the exhale, hands onto the shins. Inhale, lift the chest, straighten the legs at the end of the inhale. Exhale, bend the knees to the floor. Inhale all the way back to a plank position, bringing your shoulders on top of your wrists. Exhale onto your knees, tops of the feet on the mat, and lower the chest and chin to the floor, elbows tuck in. Inhale, lift the chest away from that. Inhale, up into cobra. At the end of the inhale, you exhale and lower to the floor. Inhale up onto your knees. As you exhale, lift the hips up and the knees up into downward dog. Take a couple of breaths here, lowering the chest to the floor, sending the sit bones back and straightening the legs, pushing the heels down. Bending the knees and slowly walk to the top of the mat. Pull the belly in, allow the arms to dangle, slowly roll up to mountain. Inhale the hands up, tall mountain. Exhale, maybe a straight leg forward bend as you dive down to the floor, bending at the hips, hands down to the floor into a straight leg forward bend. As you take the chest down towards the floor, legs are straight, sit bones lift up. Hold it here, a couple of breaths. Bending the knees, walking all the back on the inhale to plank. Shoulders on wrists. At the end of the inhale, you exhale down, knees, chest, chin. Tops of the feet on the mat, elbows tuck in. Inhale the chest away, drawing the shoulder blades back down the back, lift up through the crown of the head. At the end of the inhale, exhale slowly to the floor. Slowly moving to the floor as well. Inhale up onto your knees, tuck your toes in. Exhale, lifting the knees away, lift the hips up into downward dog, sending the heels down. Looking back at your ankles, lowering the chest down. Taking a few slow, steady breaths here. Bending the knees, looking up between the hands, slowly walking to the top of the mat. Okay, pull the belly in, let the arms dangle. Slowly roll up to mountain. Inhaling the hands up. Exhale, straight leg forward bend. Swan dive down to the floor. As the legs start straighten, you feel tension in the back of the legs. Lift the sit bones up. Lower the chest down, feeling the body start to let go a little bit more each time, maybe. Pushing the backs of the knees backwards. Bending the knees and a slow inhale as you walk back and bring the shoulders on top of the wrists. At the end of the inhale, exhale onto your knees, chest, chin, tops of the feet on the mat, elbows tuck in. Inhale, lift the chest away into cobra, drawing the shoulder blades back. Exhale to the floor. Inhale up onto your knees, tuck your toes in, exhale into downward dog. Lowering the chest on the floor, towards the floor, sending the heels down, straighten the legs. Bend the knees, slowly walking to the top of the mat. You get the idea. You can do this as many times as you want. Pull the belly in, drop the arms down, lift up. Okay, as many times as you want. Very basic sun salutation. After you've done, we've done 3 of those. Grab hold of a belt or a tea towel or a towel. Straighten your arms out. Lift the belt up over the head and back into the back. Lift up, arms straight all the way over the front. This is the movement. Maybe bringing the arms a little bit closer together to make it a bit more awkward. As you then start bringing the arms over the back, you find that tightness in the shoulders. That's where we're going. A little bit of tightness as the arms come all the way back behind you, round about there. Maybe you can feel the shoulder blades and then allow the arms to come down. Okay, only working within your constraints, and we're going to do this about 5 times. So this is the shoulder blades, the scapula, tracking down the ribs. Not a fixed joint. They glide over the muscles, the tissue, and they're driven by the rhomboids, the lats, the trapezius. 5 deep layers of muscles in the back. And keep going. So this is really good for your posture. Really good to build the strength up in those deep muscles to avoid that rounding of the back that we might get maybe later on in life. Okay, this is also stretching your pec minor muscle on the front of the chest. Okay, once you've done that about 5 or 6 times, come up and then keeping the hips nice and straight, arms down the side. We are the champions. It's really, in all seriousness, keeping the belt nice and tight as you keep the arms nice and straight. Again, scapula coming down the sides of the ribs. So really working those back muscles. Okay. And then loosen off the shoulders, chuck the belt down. Okay, come to the top of your mat. We're going to step the right leg back in this case, come into a warrior. So ground down through that right foot, bend through the left knee, and then take the arms out nice and wide. Torso is upright. Turn and look over the middle finger of the left hand. Okay, warrior 2. Holding this, a couple of breaths. Well, probably 3 or 4 breaths. And then straighten up, take the arms up, pivot on your feet, and then bring your hands down onto your hips, point the feet away, bend the knees. So drawing the knees back now, really working your abductors. Take the arms out nice and wide and push the palms away as you flex the wrists. Okay, shoulders are coming down the back, shoulder blades coming down the back. Finding this posture, horse posture. Drawing the shoulders back, pushing the arms away, pulling the knees back. Really intense posture, straighten the legs, lift the hands up, exhale the hands down. Take the hands behind the back, clasp the hands, parallel your feet, or in fact, pigeon toe your feet. Inhale, lift the chest up, drive those arms back. You can really feel the stretch through the front of the body. Exhale, come forwards, wide leg forward bend, keeping those arms moving forward like we did in the forward bend. Stretching through the shoulder girdle, rounding through the outer edge of your feet. Finding this forward bend, feeling the effort in the shoulders. And then slowly coming out of that, the way you came in. And then release the hands, just loosen off the hands, okay? Going to take warrior two on the other side. So turn to your right, bending that right knee. Torso comes up straight, arms nice and straight, palms down. Look over the middle finger of your right hand. As you breathe in, reach through the fingertips. As you breathe out, bend through that front knee. Try to get that front thigh, maybe even parallel with the floor. Wherever you go, just find that work that's needed to hold this posture. Then straighten out, hands down the side of the body. I'm going to step this back leg forwards a little bit so we can actually turn the hips to face the front, okay? So it's quite a narrow stride pattern here. Extended forward bend, making sure probably that the heels are in alignment. Turn the hips face the front. Take the hands behind the back. Now you can grab hold of your wrists, grab hold of your elbows, or if you've got the range of movement here, put your hands into a reverse prayer position, which is quite tricky if you haven't got that flexibility in your shoulders. Trying to get the hands planted. From here, wherever you are, lift up the chest on the inhale. On the exhale, bending at the hips, take the back forwards or take the body forwards, already finding tension in that front hamstring, and down. Extended forward bend, hold here for a few breaths. Again, a great posture for modern day living because our hamstring, our right hamstring is getting a really good stretch, particularly if we lift that right sit bone up. And with our arms behind us, our shoulders are getting a really good stretch as well. And slowly release out of that. Release the hands, loosen off the hands. Pivot through 180 degrees. So you keep that same stride length. And again, maybe line the heels up. Get to the point where you could square the hips without too much pressure on your sacrum, just at the base of the spine here. Don't want any of that. Take the hands behind the back, and it could be elbows, it could be wrists, or it could be reverse namaskara, reverse prayer pose. Inhale, lift the chest. And then exhale, come through. And down. Stretching out through that left hamstring, lifting the left sit bone up and lowering the chest down. And interestingly, seeing if one side you can get lower than the other side, learning a little bit about your range of movement. Lifting that left sit bone up. Breathing nice and slowly. And come out of that and release, drop the hands down. Okay. And then what we're going to do now is widen our legs and come into a lunge. Okay. So what high crescent lunge. So lifting the arms up and then inhaling here. On an exhale, cactus the arms. So bring the arms down like a cactus and a lunge dip as you bend through the knees. Inhale, lift up and a cactus dip. Inhale, lift up and a cactus dip and hold as you draw those elbows back. And then inhale, lift up, exhale the hands down. 180 degrees here. Find a high lunge position. Inhale the hands up and then exhale cactus as you bend the knees and drop into this lunge. Inhale up, exhale cactus. Inhale, lift up, exhale cactus and hold. Again, pulling those elbows back, stretching through the front of the chest. Make any adjustments to this posture. Maybe drawing your solar plexus, your front of your tummy, into the rib crest. This gives you real good support in your lumbar spine. Inhale up and release. Okay, grab hold of your belt. Choice here. You can use the end of the belt, or if you've just got a towel, wrap the belt around the foot, or wrap the towel around the foot. Okay, quad stretch. So, however you do this, I think I'm better off with a belt actually. Yeah, you might need a yoga belt for this. Or if you can, get your hand onto your front of your foot. Maybe use a wall to stabilize here. If you can, find a quad stretch here as you draw your heel back into your glute. Maybe use both hands and lean against the wall. Really go for it. You know, see if you can really stretch through the front of the thigh here. Normal range of movement would be heel coming somewhere close to the glute, somewhere close. If you're really out here, you're probably tight in your hip flexors and your quads, your vasti. So you might need to do a few of these. Always good when you come up to the end of a sun salutation, maybe to introduce one of these. Okay, and then release. And then the same on the other side. So again, if you want, you can use a wall, you can use a belt. You're using a belt, yoga belt, belt on the foot, belt over the shoulder, and you can lean forwards as you pull on that belt and use your shoulder to lift that belt up. You can feel it straight away in the vasti muscles here. Or if you can, pull that heel into your glute. Again, somewhere close to the glute for normal range of movement. You'll soon find out if you're tight in your quads. And release. Okay. Now we'll sun salute down to the floor. So top of the mat, feet hip width apart. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, fold forward, straight leg forward, bend. Head and shoulders towards the floor. Lift the sit bones up, lower the chest down, pushing the back of the knees backwards. Finding this forward bend. And bending the knees, walking back into downward dog. Establishing this posture, lowering the chest down. Even pressure through both hands, pushing the heels back. Inhale, come through to plank, pulling the belly in, leveling it out the body. Exhale onto your knees and all the way down to the floor. Going to come into locust. Another good posture for your back. Point the toes away, tops of the feet on the mat initially. Taking the arms out down the side of the body. Inhale, lift the legs, lift the chest off of the mat. Now draw the arms out to the side and forwards. And then draw the elbows back as if you're cactusing the arms and lift the palms up and hold here. Drawing the shoulder blades towards each other. Option is to stretch the arms out in front and come back. Stretch forwards and back. Stretch forwards and back and hold. Keeping the breath nice and steady. And release. Counter into child as you push up onto your knees. Sitting the hips back onto the heels. Taking a few moments here to soften the breath. And then come up onto your knees. We're going to roll down onto our backs. Onto our lower backs. A little bit of core. Draw the knees into the chest initially. Keep hold of the right knee, straighten out the left leg, point the toes. Take the elbows out to the side, fingertips behind the ears, turn around to bring your left elbow towards your right knee. Inhale in here, keeping your lower back grounded. On the exhale, twist to the other side, straighten out the other leg and bring the left knee in. Inhale here and twist. Inhale here, twist nice and slowly, using the muscles to keep it nice and slow, and twist. And keep going. Remember to inhale and then blow and go. Exhale and move. These pauses in between, you can use your breath in these pauses in the sense that you can inhale here, exhale, hold the breath. Inhale, exhale, hold the breath. Inhale, exhale, hold the breath. Inhale, exhale, hold the breath. And draw the knees in and rock the lower back, come upright, plant the feet down. Taking the hands in front of you, coming back behind the sit bones. And we're going to do a draw roll back, okay? That's the movement. So inhale here, on the exhale, draw the right elbow back and turn and look to the right as that elbow comes back. Inhale forwards, draw the left elbow back on the exhale. Inhale forwards, using your core, flattening your ribs to affect the movement. All in the obliques. Keeping the feet grounded. Nice slow movement with the breath. As you exhale, you draw the belly in. Inhale to the front. Exhale, draw the belly in. And hold. And breathe. Inhale, exhale, and hold. And release. Well done. Legs crossed. Find the sit bones. Lift up through the crown of the head, up through the spine. Turn around to your right. It's a simple turn to the right. Then you lay your left hand on your right knee. Your right hand is behind. And then use the hands as a bind to twist through the shoulders. Turn and look back over the right shoulders. You pull the tummy button in and squeeze through those core muscles that have just worked so hard. And release, and around to the other side. So turn, make the turn, hands are positioned. Inhale here, lift through the spine. Exhale, twist. Pulling the belly in. And release. Straighten the legs out. Flex the ankles, toes point up. Find the front of the sit bones. Flatten the lower back. Reach the hands up. Inhale, come upright. Exhale. The movement comes with the pelvis. Come forwards. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, come forwards with the pelvis. Not round to the back. Inhale, lift up, come forwards, and then drop the hands down. Keep the chest come forwards, flatten the lower back. Grounding the knees back into the floor, the backs of the knees. Find a tension in your hamstrings. And slowly release out of that. Bend the knees, plant the feet on the floor, take the hands behind the hips, straighten the arms. Push the straight arms into the mat as you lift the hips up and down. Lift up and down. You can lift on the inhale. Then inhale and hold. reverse table, and come back down. Okay. So now we're going to come onto our knees into tabletop. Okay, so slowly sitting the hips back onto the heels. Not going to child. We're going to walk the hands backwards to find hero. Now, hero might be quite tricky. You might find you're up here, in which case get a couple of cushions or blocks or books and maybe prop them under the bum, okay, if that's better for you. But if you can do hero, drop into the heels. Taking the arms out nice and wide and cactus the arms here, drawing the elbows back. And release, come forwards and then come up onto your knees. Knees are hip width apart. Take your hands into your back pockets or where the back pockets would be. And then gently push the hands into the glutes as you push the belly forwards. Look up and then draw your shoulder blades towards each other. And then take your gaze upwards, pushing the hips forwards into camel. Making any adjustments with your knees that you need to. Driving those hips forwards, very gentle back bend. Taking any modifications you want. You could tuck your toes in and see if your hands will come down onto your heels. And then use your muscles in your hip flexors to take the hips forwards for a back bend here, bringing the shoulder blades towards each other. And release. Okay. Crossing your ankles, rolling down onto your bottoms, taking your legs nice and long. Bend the left knee and rest the left ankle on top of the rest of the right thigh. Take the hands behind you, maybe fingers pointing to the front. Then slide that right leg up for seated pigeon or seated figure of four. Pushing your chest forwards with your hands. Again, making any adjustments you might need to. Push your chest forwards to find this tension, this stretch in the left hip. And soften through the hip, the knee. As you come to the end of these postures, always go that little bit deeper as the body starts to release, particularly on the exhales. And then when you come to the end, on the last couple of exhales, go a little bit deeper on the exhale. You'll tease a little bit more flexibility out of the connective tissue. And release. Okay, straighten the legs out. Just take a moment here just to rebound, maybe just flutter the legs, and then rest the right ankle on top of the left thigh. Okay, and again, position the hands accordingly for you. Slowly sliding that left leg up. And then when you find tension, push forwards with the arms to go deeper into that tension. Breathe in. On the exhale, you take a nice, slow, drawn out exhale and you soften the body as you push forwards and go deeper. Okay, and release. Dropping onto your backs. You can have a belt to hand, but see how you go without a belt. Your right leg is long. Lift the left leg up. Grab hold of someone on the back of that leg. Pull that leg towards you and back off. Towards you and back off. Towards you. Rest your head and shoulders on the mat. Flex your ankles to bring your toes towards your shin. And then 5 breaths here. As you breathe out, soften around the hip and draw that leg towards you, fractionally, marginally, incrementally, with each breath out. You will find that over the course of 5 breaths, you can move that leg quite a way further forward than you did initially. Feeling that sensation of stretch, of tension, of stress in the leg, and trying to find some ease anywhere you can by softening through any muscles that are still contracting, still hanging on, still active. This is one that's really worthwhile. So let that leg come all the way to the floor. Lie back on the floor and just feel the difference between both legs now. You might feel it. You might feel it in the hip. You might feel it in the legs, but one just feels so much more released. Lift the right leg up. Grab hold of the right leg. Draw that leg towards you on a stretch and release. On a stretch and deeper and release. On a stretch and a hold. Flex the ankle, toes to the shin. Rest the head and shoulders on the floor. 5 breaths. Always with the exhale, drawing that leg a little bit closer as you soften through the hip. And release. Send that foot to the floor. Roll up to seated position. Straighten the legs out in front of us. Flex the ankle, toes are up. Take the arms up. Another seated forward bend. So lean forward a little bit, flatten the lower back. Inhale up. Exhale, come forward. Inhale up. Lower back is quite flat. Move into the pelvis. Exhale forwards. Inhale up. Exhale forwards. Taking the hands down. Lowering, or at least taking the head and chest forwards first of all to find tension in the hamstrings, and taking a few breaths here. If you want, you can grab a belt around your feet and pull your chest forwards with the belt. And slowly release out of that. Counter pose in reverse table again. So take your hands behind the hips, wide with the fingers. Bend the knees, about 90 degrees in the knees. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, down. Inhale, up and down. Inhale, up and hold. Drop the head back. Lift the hips up. Use your lower back muscles, your glutes, to drive the hips up into reverse table. And release. Okay, coming down onto our backs. Just to finish off, plant your feet just below the glutes. Drop your head and shoulders onto the floor. Hands down the side of the body. Tucking the chin in. Grounded through the lower back. Tucking the tailbone in. Inhale, lift the hips up into bridge. Keeping the tailbone tucked in, keeping the knees parallel. And then slowly lower the hips down halfway. On the exhale, lift the hips up to full bridge. Inhale down. Exhale, lift. Inhale down. Exhale, lift. Inhale down, keeping the knees parallel. Exhale, lift and hold and drive those hips up. And come back down. Roll down through the lower back. Okay, now take the arms under the body and shuffle the shoulders a bit to clasp the hands and straighten the arms back. Lift the hips up a little bit and then lift the hips up all the way. Draw the shoulder blades towards you as you ground down through the backs of the arms, backs of the hands. Lifting your hips away, really working the shoulder girdle here. And release. Take the arms away, draw the knees into the chest and massage the lower back. And if you want, you can stretch the legs out here. Take the feet out nice and wide. Do tense and release. This is a great way to find how much tension you're carrying in your body. So feel how you feel at this moment in time as you soften and release everything. Okay, and what we're going to do now is lift the left leg completely off of the mat, scrunch the toes, pull the toes or the foot in, so flex the ankle and squeeze every single muscle in that leg, including the left glute if you can. So when I say squeeze, really contract the hamstrings, the quads, the muscles around the knee, the calf, the front of the shin, the ankle, the sole of the foot, every single muscle in the foot, every single muscle in that whole left leg is now squeezing so much that the leg is actually wandering, meandering and shaking in space. And keep that power on. And then release that, drop that foot to the floor, let the feet flop to the side. Feel that wave of release through that left leg. And then straight away, lift the right leg up, scrunch the toes, squeeze every single muscle in that raised right leg, around the thighs, around the glutes, around the hamstring. Maybe you can feel the hamstrings. You reach your hands down and the thighs. Squeeze the calf, squeeze the shin, squeeze the ankle, scrunch the toes and power through that foot. And then release. Drop the heel down, let the foot flop to the side. Feel that sense of release, both legs. Now pull your belly in. Maybe, if you can, pull your ribs down, pull whole of your core in, squeeze the glutes together, pull up your pelvic floor, tighten everything in the midriff. Everything is really working hard. You can feel the transverse abdominal, rectus abdominal, and your obliques really squeezing, powerful, and soften, let go. Feel that wave of release. And now draw the shoulders towards each other, shoulder blades. Pull the chest in, flatten your ribs as much as you can. Squeeze your deltoids at the top of the shoulders. Really squeeze through the sides of the ribs, your lats. Squeezing everything in the upper body. And soften, release. In both arms off of the mat, several inches. Squeeze, make fists with your hands and squeeze every single muscle in both arms. Biceps, triceps, forearms. Muscles around the wrists. Really clenching those fists tight. Deltoids again at the top of the arms. And getting to the point where the arms again are weaving, wandering, shaking, squeeze tight as you can. And then go a little bit tighter. Release the hands to the floor. And then lift the head off the mat. Close your mouth, close your eyes, squeeze your eyes, squeeze every single muscle in your face. Even your tongue is getting squeezed. Head is shaking from side to side. Release. Now take this next couple of moments just to scan your body. Feel if there's anything now tight, tense, switched on. Simply for the next few breaths, enjoy this sense of release. It won't take too long before tension creeps back in. The mind will go on a journey. It'll pick up memories, and all of a sudden, we're in a whole different piece of tension. Okay, but that's tense and release. It's a really effective way of releasing tension in the body. Done in a yoga practice at the end of a practice. Really nice. I really like it because it's perfectly physical, and it gives you an idea of how much tension you hold in your body. Okay, so that little practice for posture, for tight hammies and tight shoulders. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, appreciate a like. If you didn't, I'm sorry. Take a look at some of the other videos. They might be better for you. But thanks for having a look anyway. Stay safe. Might see you in class at some point. And keep doing yoga. Thank you.